Discussing politics, their passion ignites. Conservative values, they stand their ground. In a world of chaos, their truth can be found. Unsanctioned America, they won't back down. Voices of reason in a liberal town. Oh, John and Tom bringing the heat. In a podcast storm, they won't face defeat. Speaking their minds, it's a freedom fight. Unsanctioned America, they'll light up the night. They break it down, what's fair and what's right. Calling out the nonsense, shining a light. With every debate, they sharpen their blade. Fighting for freedom, the lights on relay. In a nation divided, they'll rise above with passion and truth and a whole lot of love. Oh, John and Tom bringing the heat. In a podcast storm, they won't face defeat. Speaking their minds, it's a freedom fight. Unsanctioned America, they'll light up the night. So tune in and listen, join the crusade for a brighter tomorrow. The truth will not fade.
I don't think we can change Donald Trump. I don't think so. Not at this stage.
Get you to lift tariffs on Canada?
No,
Why not?
just the way it is.
What's your
And a person who draws his inspiration from President Trump, like Pierre Poilievre, will kneel down before him.
You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world.
Before he stands up to him. He's in sync with President Trump.
I thought you were excellent, and I think we have a lot of things in common.
Pierre Poilievre is also choosing to be willfully blind to the many and growing threats that face our country.
We don't really want cars from Canada, and we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things.
What the big companies are producing, by and large, are not products that we are consuming. There's some element of that, but by and large, you know, a steel company, how much steel are you using these days, Todd? I mean, not as much we used to. So anyway, so
Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I mean, I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff on your cars of 25%, what would that mean to you? He said, that would mean the end of Canada. He actually said that to me. And I said, that's a strange answer, but I understand his answer. But no, I mean, it's hard to justify subsidizing Canada to the tune of maybe $200 billion a year. We protect Canada militarily, and we always will. We're going to, that's not a money thing. But we always will. But, it's not fair.
Welcome to Unsanctioned.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And she had pictures, she had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known.
John, that video right there is from 2019, and we played that video on this show 3 years ago.
Yep.
So this is nothing new. There is a reason why we're playing it now, of course. But before we get to that, that first video, Carney had a lot to say when he was running for Prime Minister of Canada. But that tune has certainly changed now that he is Prime Minister. He went to the Oval Office to meet Trump. It was a pure masterclass. If you saw this meeting between these two, it was a pure masterclass. It was the art of the deal live and in person, John.
It was a pretty humbling experience for Carney, apparently, to be in Trump's domain there. I think that there's a huge difference between these two men, right? One of them says the same thing no matter what room he's in.
Yeah.
Carney is the type of guy that is going to sing two different tunes. And he did during his election, a lot of tough talk by a not very tough guy. You could tell that. For some reason, it does appear that Trump likes him, has respect for him. I think that he said that multiple times, and he publicly basically not supported him, but he said that he wasn't a bad guy. He never really killed him the way that you would expect Trump to go after somebody he didn't want to win. And then he comes to the White House, and now this guy is far more friendly with Trump than he pretended to be prior to the election. And here's why. Because we own Canada already. Canada may not want to admit it, but the United States already owns Canada. We own their economy. If we subsidize them, you have to remember, there's only 10 people that live in Canada. And those 10 people have a massive country, and there's a lot of responsibilities for a country to defend North America when, you have all that ice between the United States and the North Pole.
Yeah.
And the economy of Canada is not one that's extremely strong. We don't need those materials that Trump is talking about. And he acknowledges, so he's just being honest.
No.
So you can come into the Oval Office. I'm glad that then it just gets us, Canada's no longer an issue. Right? Put it on the back burner, move on to other countries. Now it looks like you have the UK, the announcement with the UK today that we struck a trade deal with the UK. We have Canada that looks like they're finally back under control. It doesn't matter what the guy says and back in, wherever maple syrup comes from. He can go back there and say whatever he wants. But when he's here in the Oval Office, he speaks the truth. And that's exactly what that is. It's truth.
And congratulations to Judge Janine.
And congratulations to Judge Janine Pirro, who is now been nominated to become the new DA for Washington, D.C., which I guess the Edwards was his name, didn't make it. They were fighting with him and Tom Tillis. Man, I hope that they really bring Tillis down. He has been a thorn in Trump's side from the very beginning. And it's time for him to go, really. Absolutely. Is what it now amounts to. So welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned America. This is episode 313, May 8th, 2025. I'm going to read you the headlines. We'll say a prayer and we'll get right into the show. Carney comes to crawling, plays nice with Trump. We just saw that. Epstein still haunts the United States as America's biggest pedophile. America's new pope. Conservative Catholics hesitate to celebrate. Trump bans gain of function. Patel chases pedophiles, but is it enough? Dementia patient and mentally ill shrew wander into television studio. $21 trillion in an underground network of cities raises eyebrows. America's biggest disappointment gets award. Seattle loses. Well, who do you think that disappointment is? We'll see who that disappointment is. Seattle loses control over itself again, allowing students to set university on fire. Failure of justice allows professor to continue watching child. You'll guess the word there, for years. What a just horrendous story this is. Salt Lake City mayor needs to have her computer checked for some inappropriateness after declaring pride flags official city flags so that she doesn't have to bring her flags down. And a 12-foot black woman stops traffic in New York City. We'll talk about all of this and more on this episode of Unsanctioned Florida, episode 313, May 8th, 2025. Let's get down to it. We're going to do a prayer.
Real quick, John, before please include in your prayer our friend Bill Nagy, who is laid up in his bed. He broke his hip. He's been having some bad health and some issues there, and he's a good man, a great patriot, and definitely want to include Bill in our prayer tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's do it. Lord, we're grateful. Many good things we see happening in our country. Most importantly, an awareness, an awakening of the American people to what is true and what our country is doing and what our country needs to be doing. So many things happening that it's just, we know that it's beyond just human actions. A lot of this is, driven by your design, divine design, and we appreciate that. Lord, please, if it's your will, heal our good friend Bill, make him feel better, and let him spend more time enjoying our show and talking about politics and driving the discussion here in Osceola County. Father, what a great day. A new pope today comes. Many Catholics throughout the world and our country are celebrating. We pray for this pope. We hope that he's a good one. We hope that he follows in the footsteps of the best popes like John Paul II, who fought against communism. We pray that this pope really has an enlightenment of his own, that he does the right thing, that he brings the country together, that he brings Catholicism back to the Catholic Church, that he inspires people to do the right thing and to accept Bible teaching first and foremost, because that is what's one of the things that's been lacking in religious life today. Bless this country, Lord. We are all very grateful, and we say we are grateful to you for the opportunity to live in this country and to do this show and everything else. So thank you for all the blessings that you bestow upon this country and our families. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, again, episode 313. I'm former school board member John Arguello. This is my great friend, citizen Tom Lord. Here we go. Let's start.
Let's get in some news. So I did say we were going to talk about that opening video and that first video, the second video, I mean, the old video from 2019 where Amy Robach from ABC News is talking about how she had all the evidence against Epstein, including evidence against Clinton. We don't know which Clinton, but, Clinton. And it was nothing new. So the reason we're playing this is because James O'Keefe 7 days ago released this video.
I'm going dark. I'm not suicidal. pray for me. This one scares me, guys.
All right, so for 7 days, everyone on X was waiting to see what James O'Keefe was going to drop, what this video was, what this bomb was going to be, because usually James O'Keefe would drop a bomb and it was something significant, it was something relevant. So yesterday, he dropped this video.
Prince Andrew, he was in the Navy. He was 250 days at sea. He never saw his family. I was really pissed because he lied to me.
Lied about
Epstein. And then I did a big thing in the Daily Mail saying that I believed Andrew. And then I found out he was lying. I was so pissed. No, that he was f***ing underage girls. That's not cool.
John Bryan has been a close confidant to the British royal family for a long time. He worked for Queen Elizabeth II, was, quote, best friends with Princess Diana, and had a long-term intimate relationship with the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson. According to Bryan, he practically raised Sarah Ferguson's children, the princesses Beatrice and Eugene. And Bryan said that he maintained a friendship with Ferguson's husband, the Duke of York, Prince Andrew.
Tell me, like, your story.
So my story, you want to know my story?
What?
Like, I've been so famous at times when I was on the front page of every newspaper in the planet because I was working with the Queen of England.
Okay.
You know, she's Queen Elizabeth. I was working with all the families. Princess Diana was one of my best friends. And I met the Duchess of York.
Okay.
That's Prince Andrew's wife. They were separated. And then Sarah and I sort of fell in love. And we lived together for like 7 years, 6 or 7 years, in my house in England. And I raised their 2 little children. They're so cute.
Wait, her kids?
Beatrice and Eugenie. Those were my children. Those were my kids. I raised those kids.
That's crazy.
Day to day raised. I was father to those kids.
Prince Andrew's connection to Jeffrey Epstein emerged in 2010, when photos showed them walking together in New York's Central Park. Epstein had already been convicted in 2008 of procuring a 14-year-old girl for prostitution. In 2014, a woman named Virginia Giuffre alleged in a Florida court filing that Jeffrey Epstein paid her to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17, a minor. On April 25th, a few weeks ago, Giuffre died by, quote, suicide. Prince Andrew denied Giuffre's sex abuse allegations in a now infamous 2019 BBC interview.
She said she had sex with you 3 times, once on his private island in a group of 7 or 8 other girls.
No.
All
right. We don't have to play the entire thing because you basically saw it all right there. It was John Bryan. He was a security advisor to the royal family at one point. Seems like a total douche because they always have like these pretty girls are the ones who trap these guys. You know what I mean? O'Keefe always sends a pretty girl to get these guys talking, and that's what they do. They open their mouth, they start talking. He sounds like a complete I don't know, somebody I wouldn't want to be around. But anyway, what it was, John, is that he's saying that yes, Prince Andrew slept with kids and was involved heavily with Epstein and what Epstein was doing. But the thing is that that's not anything really new. It's not anything that nobody didn't know already. And James O'Keefe took a beating on X for this. You know, all the famous influencers that you know on X, whether it be Laura Loomer, Kat Tur, Brendan Dilley, they were all telling him basically how I felt after seeing that video.
And here we go. I hope you're hungry for nothing.
And there you go. I mean, and that's how I felt after I saw this, because it's like you expect something super significant coming from James O'Keefe when he drops a video. It's like, you know, earth shattering. And he just released another video tonight we're not going to play it on the show. Basically, Pam Bondi from April 28th telling somebody at brunch that they have thousands of videos of Epstein with kids. And it's the same thing she said to the public on May 2nd. So, he's basically saying, she's telling people in private at a brunch the same thing she told to the public a couple of days later. And why is she telling somebody this at brunch? And, people are saying this is nothing burger number 2. It's like, what's the point? I mean,
unless what he's saying, without actually saying it, that this guy that we saw in the video just now, the bald guy who raised Sarah Ferguson kids, is so powerful that he can have someone assassinated for the exposure of what he said, which is kind of embarrassing because he looks like a self-important ass.
Yes.
Yeah. But is that, is that what O'Keefe is saying, that this guy, just the mention of this embarrassing video is going to lead to an attempt on his life? There has to be more. There has to be more, right? Yeah. And and I guess we'll see if this is just the beginning of a lot, or if this is the nothing burger that, comes on a silver plate.
Well, I'll tell you, John, I mean, this is the thing. This is the second one, this Pam Bondi video that came out today. That's the second one. It's kind of like, she said it on April 28th at lunch to somebody who asked her about it. The same thing she said, and maybe she planned to say it to the public on May 2nd. And if anybody had asked her at brunch or any other, private instance,
maybe she would have said the same thing.
She would have said the same thing. So it's like, what's the big, deal? Why are you in fear for your life? Is it John Bryan? I don't think so. It's like you said, he sounds like a self-important tool. Obviously you hear him speaking with that woman in private, and it's just kind of, I just don't see it.
What is it about a young, attractive woman that will make a guy say or do anything? I mean, it's crazy that this guy literally spills his guts to somebody that he doesn't know about all these things, and just, I mean, it's just terrible.
But we've seen that time and time again with James O'Keefe and his videos. You know what I mean? They're always trapping some guy. I think he even trapped a guy with a guy one time. It was some gay guy. He trapped a guy with a guy.
Yeah. A guy who, was it one of the people that worked at the FBI?
Yes.
It was somebody who worked in the government. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And but that it's a tale as old as time, I guess. You know what I mean? He knows what works, how he's going to get these people, and he gets them every time. But these last 2 videos that he's dropped have been nothing. I mean, not anything that nobody doesn't already know. So, anyway, all right. So we'll move on from there, John. That was the really big thing that everybody was looking forward to, and it turned out to be a nothing burger. But what wasn't a nothing burger was what happened today. They announced a new pope. Yes, he's the first American pope. And here he is. Let's pull up a picture of him. There he is. But the couple of things have come out about the new pope. He is former Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, but now he is Pope Leo the 14th. And these are a couple of tweets that Pope Leo put out just this year, John. Here's one. He reposted this from somebody named Rocco Palmo, talking about the deportations. Not happy with that, I guess. Let's see. Here's another one. He posted himself about President Trump and anti-immigrant rhetoric. Here's another one where he goes after J.D. Vance. So, I don't know what's going on with this former cardinal, the new pope. Some are saying that he has TDS. I don't know, but more troubling, John, is this, and I'm gonna pull it up right now. We'll get these tweets out of here and we'll pull this up. Look at this. This came out, and this was from not too long ago. It's from CatholicVote.org. Survivors urge Vatican to investigate Cardinal Prevost's handling of abuse cases. So there are allegations that he covered up for priests that were abusing kids. And this is coming from survivors of Catholic priest abuse, or the survivors network of those abused by priests. They call themselves SNAP. They're talking about allegations of his time when he was bishop in northern Peru and his time as the provincial in Chicago. And I'm not going to read the whole story here, John. It's a lot. But anyway, that's what we're looking at with this new pope. So I don't know. What do you think?
So, I'm, as a Catholic, I'm very happy that it's an American, right? No, I never even thought I had my bingo card on someone who was, obviously not from the United States. It's the first one. And, the rest of the world, when they have a problem with the United States, this is kind of one of the ways that they, they have control. The rest of the world has control, right? Like over who the Pope is, and it's kind of leverage for them. And so to choose, when we have such a dominant place in the world right now with Donald Trump as the president, and then to get an American Pope, it's just the entire world has become an American at this point, right? The entire world is now under the influence of the United States. And so there's two ways to look at it. One way is that this Pope helps to bring peace and prosperity and stability to the whole world through a system which has proven to bring those things to the world, which is the American system. And I don't mean by wars or anything like that. Obviously, I mean just through stability. Stability brings the natural order of things, right? When you put God first in your government, the way that the United States Constitution does, by declaring that your rights come from God and no one else, well, then everything else begins to stabilize to a certain degree. And that's why our country is different from everyone else. So the fact that we have an American Pope who has been exposed to that is very important in my mind. Another thing is that he could have also been picked as a counterbalance to Trump, right? So you have basically two very influential American people with two different sets of ideas. Obama's gone, right?
Yeah.
Biden was never an influence, right?
No.
Biden was the subject of influence, right? He had the position of power, but it wasn't his influence that was driving anything, right? He was always seen as an ass and as a joke. And when Obama said that, never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up, that's why, right? So he had to be managed. And so he was never an influence. Obama was the biggest influence. Clinton is dying off, right? So, and Clinton kind of is self-imposed. If Hillary had not run for president, then maybe Bill Clinton would still be influential. But because Hillary ran, it kind of diffused. They wanted to get Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton is very problematic with all the sexual abuse scandals and stuff, right, with him. So the Clintons are kind of dying off in terms of influence.
Right.
So this might have been like their stab at trying to have a counterbalance to Trump's worldview.
True.
That is a worrisome for me.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also excited. I mean, it's a gigantic sense of pride for me as an American Catholic to have an American Pope. I love that. Now, I'm hoping, because I know in my card, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so terrified that they're going to pick a liberal Pope. And then we're going to have an extension of Pope Francis's kind of combative way of being, right? It's nothing like Pope John Paul II. No. And so that worries me. So this is a different one. I didn't expect them. I don't think that no one really expected it.
No.
So I pray for good things. And I pray that he brings Catholicism back to the faith. I believe the way it seemed like some people do, right?
Right.
Like pretend that, that abortion is a good thing for humanity. Or that it's a human right to kill someone like that, or to kill a baby like that.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful. I don't think that I'm not ready to call him Pope Woke the second yet. I'm hoping that he is. Well, they say he was not the favorite for the liberals. I'll say that.
Right.
The guy that was from the Philippines, that was terrifying. He was literally woke. He was a woke pope. He would have been a woke pope. And there were several more. So if you line them all up, according to Cardinals, they basically chose someone who was to the right of Francis, although he was very connected to Francis.
Yeah. All right, so we'll have to see what happens with this new Pope, Leo the 14th, and I'm sure we'll hear more as the days go on.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to watch it.
All right, big news, John, as far as executive orders go. President Trump just signed an executive order banning federal funding for gain-of-function research.
First relates to gain-of-function research. Gain-of-function research is a type of biomedical research where pathogens are adulterated, viruses are adulterated to make them more potent or to change the way that they function. Many people believe that gain-of-function research was one of the key causes of the COVID pandemic that struck us in the last decade. What this executive order does, first of all, it provides powerful new tools to enforce the ban on federal funding for gain-of-function research abroad. It also strengthens other oversight mechanisms related to that issue and creates an overarching strategy to ensure that biomedical research in general is being conducted safely and in a way that ultimately protects human health more.
It's a big deal. Could have been that we wouldn't have had the problem we had.
A lot of people say that, sir.
If we had this done earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I mean, now you mentioned it in the pre-show that I'm worried. Like, okay, well, now we're going to have these other countries that are doing it, but we're not going to be doing it. So we need to make sure that we're trying to figure out how to combat the people that are doing it.
Right.
And you said it. Well, at least we won't be paying for it, and that brings up a great point. Right now, China doesn't have the money to be doing something like that, right? Russia doesn't have the money to be doing things like that. They're both embroiled in war. China, by the way, listen, thinking about Carney, we were talking about Carney. We talked a little bit. We didn't prep for the show for this, but it's important to pay attention to what's going on in China right now. Right now, there are protests and uprising in China all across the country because they're not being paid because of Trump's decision. Trump is right about everything. And I hate to admit it, and I'm sure that Democrats go crazy, but there's not a lot that he's wrong about. The only thing that Trump has been wrong about, in my opinion, has been things that he's delegated and endorsements, right? So he's delegated endorsement power to people who are not good.
Some of his picks, yeah.
Some of his picks are not good, right? You have to. That's his weakest point. So you can have like an A to a B+ on all these different things, and for endorsements, he gets like a C.
Yeah.
And it's his one weak spot because, listen, we've talked about China a lot, and I'm surprised that we didn't put it on the show actually, but the news isn't really forthcoming with the information. But right now, China's on the verge. She is on the verge of losing power in China. That's a gigantic story, and that's only because of Trump and Trump's decisions, and it's contrary to what everybody wanted to do. All the senators, all the House, the Congress in its entirety, they didn't want any of these tariffs. And now look, China's going down the tubes right in front of our eyes. We could witness, look at the history that we're witnessing right now. We could witness the end of China, the end of Xi. There's going to be a whole new government in Xi. It could implode right before our eyes. That would be extremely historical. We talked about it on the last show, in fact, how they were behaving erratically, and it was because we were talking about this last time. So now look, it's ramped up. It's even worse in China right now. God only knows what's going to happen. So I think this is a great idea. You know, again, it's me maybe not seeing the full scale of things, but if he's doing it, I trust it, and I imagine that he already has a handle on how we're going to defend from this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and you know, like you said, John, you know, the gain of function. Yes, we do have to worry about some of these other countries, but they're not in a place right now where they can fund this stuff. So thankfully, we won't be funding it because we know that we were funding what was going on in Wuhan that ended up being the COVID virus that we were locked in our homes for a year for, just about. Anyway, and everything that came from that, vaccines,
not
everything
in Florida,
else that
though.
came, you know, not in Florida, but you know, other places
But
in
the country.
the country, yeah, and just
And I hope that Trump right now in negotiating with China, what's going to happen in terms of a trade deal, eventually that's going to happen, right? He's already been alluding to it. I pray that he includes reparations for COVID. That would be great for me. I mean, that would be, to me, that would be a huge win because clearly, they deserve to pay for all the damage they caused when it comes to COVID.
yeah, not just the outward damages that you can see, but the damages that you can't see. And
So
we
many.
have
So many, right? Yeah.
kids, you know, kids that you know, teenagers that got ruined from this, that didn't finish high school, that didn't want to go back to school, didn't have, you know, this
the fear
you know,
that little kids, that, you know, 5-year-olds were experiencing and being forced to mask, and 2-year-olds having like teachers, like, you know, force masks on the kids, and, you know, and not, I mean, grandparents dying without outside of the company of their loved ones. And I mean, horrible.
It's already sad
tragedies.
enough that, you know, these kids today do not have the social interactions that we had when we were kids. You know what I mean? Everything to them is in front of a screen of some sort, whether it be a little one or a big one. So, you know, the social interactions, it's just, I hate to see what that looks like in the future. Anyway, all right, John. So the FBI... They came out and announced that they have just arrested 205 alleged sex predators, and Kash Patel vows to hunt down more of them.
Our children. If you harm our children, you will be given no sanctuary. There is no place we will not come to hunt you down. There is no place we will not look for you. And there is no cage we will not put you in should you do harm to our children. The prioritization of this administration and General Bondi has made it abundantly clear to child predators, you will be hunted down and you will be prosecuted. And that is a refreshing thing to hear for the men and women who do this work tirelessly. And it's also an acknowledgement of the safety that we look forward to bringing America.
Yeah, all right. I'm glad they're doing this, you know. I mean,
is this enough? Is this what the American people are expecting? This is nothing.
Well, that was that was my reaction, John. Is like it's kind of like, this is what I expect you to do. You know, absolutely. I don't know if we need to have a press conference for it, but I mean, you know,
exactly. Do we really need a press conference to say that you're going after child pedophiles? I mean, in the prep time, I basically said that it's like getting 2 + 2 = 4 right on a test, and then leaving the rest of the test blank. Where are the Epstein files? When are these celebrities who were going to Epstein's island and taking, you know, watching those creating those videos, okay, that they have, obviously they have the evidence. When is that going to be made public? When are those people going to jail? Right? Talk to me about child predators when you go and you get all the famous child predators off the streets that you know. As long as you're allowing people to walk the streets like nothing, which we have another episode, or we have another story later on that describes this. You know, they're allowing these pedophiles to walk the streets. So don't pretend, don't come here and get the easy question right and then celebrate. I want to see those people go to jail. Where are the people that are involved in the government? Where are the people that have been taking advantage of Social Security, getting checks from that don't belong to them? When are those people going to be prosecuted?
Yeah.
When are the people who had something to do with all the election stealing? When are those people going to go to jail? I want everyone who has been doing us dirty to go to jail, then do a press release, then celebrate. Don't celebrate for this stuff. Just go and do the job. We expect it of you. You're doing what your job is. Don't celebrate the small stuff because it makes you look small. That's not what we expected. We did not expect that out of Kash Patel. What we expect for Kash Patel is to take a wrecking ball to all the people that have been taking advantage of the American family. That's what we expect.
Yeah, absolutely, John. You know, if we see somebody high profile getting taken down, yes, do a press conference. You know, put that out there. Let us know you got that high profile person. But, you know, just 205 arrests. All right, great. I'm glad you got them. But you don't need to have a press conference for that. You can release that to the news and just say, here, this is what we got. Have them put it out. I just don't see the point.
It's the FBI. They have tens of thousands of FBI agents. You caught 200 pedophiles. You have more agents than pedophiles that you've caught. What is the point of, you know what I mean? I mean, it just seems like come on, man. Don't be celebrating this stuff. Now everyone is aware. We're awake. We know what's at stake. Go get everybody. Put them in jail. Go fix it. We only have what, man? A year and a half. We have a year and a half until it's possible, it's conceivable that the Democrats take back the House. Then what are you going to accomplish?
Yeah.
Go make these things happen. Stop messing around.
Yeah, you got to get it done, because this is the problem that we're facing in Florida, is that we have a Republican supermajority here in Florida, and they're not getting anything significant done.
They don't accomplish anything. Yeah.
No, and the Democrats are celebrating. They're celebrating the Republicans not getting anything done, and they are looking, they're chomping at the bit for 2026, hoping they're going to take back at least some seats, because they're definitely not going to take them all back, or at least achieving a majority here in Florida. That's not going to happen.
Well, they're going to take, they took over the party already, right? Between the rhinos and the Democrats who have switched parties,
over,
they probably have half of the Republican party already.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and then the other half is controlled by lobbyists. So, I mean, what difference does it make?
The thing is this, on the national level, we have to watch out for the slick politician, the one who sounds centrist, who's going to come along, and believe me, they're going to come along. Stephen A. Smith has already come out and said, talking about how he's a centrist and that he believes that he could win the election. He honestly believes that.
I hope he does run, because he would probably get smoked. But at the same time,
I think some people would buy in, man. Some people would buy in, and I think that's the person you have to watch out for. You have to watch out for the slick centrist, and you see them all trying to pivot. The ones who have presidential aspirations, they're all trying to pivot to the center.
Yeah.
You see Newsom doing it. We see Pizzo in South Florida doing it. We see others. Watch out for that. Watch out for that. But let's talk about someone from the past who just appeared on TV. I don't know how they dragged him out of his basement, wherever he was hiding out at, but Joe Biden was on The View the other day. Yeah, they got him on The View. It was him and
this was
Dr.
in
Jill.
our headline, the dementia patient and the mentally ill shrew
Dr.
stumble
Jill.
onto TV set.
Dr. Jill came to save him.
Disaster.
Yep. What a disaster. Watch this video. Tell me this man does not look like he's out to lunch during this whole thing.
Anyway.
Of course. You can't be too out there. Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out, deeply sourced from Democratic sources, that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities. In the final year of your presidency, what is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that, number one. Number two, think of what we're left with. We're left with a circumstance where We had an insurrection when I started. Not since the Civil War. We had a circumstance where we were in a position that
my God.
Well, the pandemic, because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying. 1 million people dying. And we're also in a situation where we found ourselves unable to deal with a lot of just basic issues, and which I won't go into in the interest of time. And so we went to work, and we got it done. And one of the things that well, and Alyssa,
one of the things I think is that the people who
Dr.
wrote
Jill
those
his brain
were
shuts
not
down
in
after
the White
12.
House
It's
with
like
us, and they didn't see how hard Joe worked every single day. I mean, he'd get up, he'd put in a full day, and then at night I'd be in bed, reading my book, and he was still on the phone reading his briefings, working with staff. I mean, it was nonstop. It's the White House.
Look at him there. Look at him sitting there.
Is not like a job. It's a lifestyle. It's a life that you live. You live it 24 hours a day. That phone can ring at 11
Not
o'clock
him.
at
He
night
went to bed
or
at
2 in the
4 o'clock.
morning.
He's
It's
going to bed right
constant.
there.
You never leave it.
He's sitting
and
there
Joe
going to bed.
Worked really hard. I think he was a great president. And if you look at things today,
oh my God.
if you look at things today,
This woman's
give me
crazy.
Joe Biden anytime.
This. Anybody that goes to that show, anybody who watches that show regularly, without a sense of irony, it should be committed. She should be straight up committed. That's it. I mean, she is that's a nutcase woman. You don't have to tell somebody when somebody's working hard. Everybody can tell. Right?
Yeah.
That was the world that you come from. It's just like athletes, right? You can tell who's working really hard, right? You can tell who's got talent. You can't fake a run time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what they're trying to do. They're gaslighting all of Americans. They're gaslighting you, saying that this guy is running a 4:15:40. No, he's not. He's not. The guy hasn't even reached the finish line, and he left last Thursday. That's just, it's BS. And I mean, so is everybody else, right? Just tired of hearing the lies and the gaslighting. It's just enough already. Enough. I don't know who the hell is watching The View anymore. My goodness.
Yeah, they had a full audience. They were cheering for Joe. I just can't believe it, but
they have to get paid.
Yeah.
They have to get paid. It's got to be like homeless people who they have a choice. They can either go watch The View or they can go give blood. And I'm sure they go watch The View one time and then they're like, F that. I'm going to go give blood from now on.
Yeah, I don't know. How they can say that he's okay when he was basically out to lunch during that interview, during parts of that interview. You could look at him and see him, and he looks like he's out to lunch. He's just not looking at anyone. He's like staring down. The guy, for them to say that there was nothing wrong with him the whole time that he was president,
cooked.
Please.
He's cooked. He's cooked. His brain was cooked, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago. He was cooked already. He was on a decline. He was never a smart guy. The guy barely passed law school. I mean, it's just.
I mean, he was a liar for his whole political career, and he had been caught in multiple lies, huge lies, the entire time that he was in public office, whether it was in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s. Yeah, he was caught in multiple lies. He's just a big old liar. If you believe anything that this man says, you need to have your head examined. But anyway. All right, John, so let's move on to some more stories from across the nation. Boy, that always gets me pumped up for this part of the show. I'm sorry. This is crazy, John. This story here. This is a former Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development on Tucker Carlson's show. She is saying that they have diverted $21 million or $21 trillion. $21 trillion to build underground city network. Listen to this. This is insane.
But there is a history of near extinction events. And one of the things that I've looked at, because I'm trying to figure out, when between fiscal 1998 and fiscal 2015, there were 21 trillion of undocumentable adjustments in the U.S. government. If you go to our website, missingmoney.solari.com, we have years and years of documentation, including the government officials. So the question is, where's all this money going? And one of the things I've looked at in the process of looking at where all this money is going is the underground base and city infrastructure and transportation system that's been built. And
I'm sorry?
Yes. So we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more. So
in the United States?
In the United States, all over the world. But from 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Solari Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. And then we systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess. This is totally a guess of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States, but also underground under the ocean around the United States. And our estimate was 170 with a transportation network connecting them.
And what would be the purpose?
The purpose, if you thought you were going to get a near extinction event, so there, to me, there are two purposes. You have so many activities going on that you need to keep secret, that you're basically building the capacity to, for example, if you're doing a secret space program, you need to platform it from, things that can't be seen. But I think if you're worried about a near extinction event, that's...
So I know nothing about this other than my only window into it. I knew a contractor who worked on one in Washington, in the city of Washington, D.C. Right. And I remember him telling me about a power box, like a transformer box on Constitution Avenue that he told me, because he worked on it personally, was actually the exit, the egress from the White House. That was kind of by vehicle. I thought that was, I was like, really? He goes, oh yeah, no, I installed it, I know. And I thought, well, that's kind of crazy that in the middle of this big city where I was on Constitution Avenue every day, that you could build something like that without me knowing it. Under the VP's house at the Naval Observatory, same thing. I think most people know that. Next to my brother's house on Macomb Street in D.C. But that's, I always thought that was like preparation for nuclear war. Like, I didn't really think about it that much.
Some of it is, yeah. It's preparation for catastrophe.
So, but you think that there are facilities like that in other places outside D.C.?
Oh, yeah. So if you're interested, we have a great interview. I did an interview of Richard Dolan on underground bases on the Solari Report, and it's sort of an introduction to the topic, and it's based on a lot of the research of a guy named Richard Sauter, who is very hard to interview. So Richard kind of went through all the material. And clearly it's, I don't know if you ever saw, Washington Post did a project, it was in 2010 or 12, called Top Secret America. And one of the reporters, it was a team of 2 reporters, one of them put together a database of all the different top secret installations that had been built in the country, including since the Patriot Act. And what you saw was just this explosion of money in building so many, both underground and above ground facilities.
Wow. And you have to ask, John, what's going on in these places?
Well, I think the first thing you have to ask is how accurate is that information? Like, would you doubt it? No, I wouldn't doubt it.
No,
I mean, you have to be crazy to doubt that they were doing this, right? Because number one, they're all about self-preservation. All the roaches that would love to live underground, they're all about self-preservation, you know?
Yeah.
Number two, the ultra rich people, the celebrities that I guess that you know, they're basically saying it's a celebrity bunker, a celebrity, you know, alt country, you know, underground. Yeah, I mean, I believe that, right? I mean, I think it's as easy to believe that there's an underground network of cities. I mean, I don't know to what extent. I would imagine we already knew that there were bunkers inside of mountains and stuff like that.
Right.
It only makes sense that there's a network of transportation between the bases. Now, if you're talking like, you know, fallout type of stuff, I mean, I don't know. It's not that much of a stretch, you know. It's not as easy to believe as, say, you know, 1 million jugs of baby oil at Puff Daddy's house.
Yeah.
But you know, but certainly it's within the realm of possibilities, you know.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take some time to look further into this. The person, by the way, that was in that video, that was Catherine Austin Fitts. She served as Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development under George H.W. Bush. So
Housing and urban development. That means that this is a woman whose budget was probably impacted by this.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If any agency, right, aside from the Department of Defense, right, or Department of the Interior, when you go through them all, you would imagine that HUD is one of the ones that would be impacted by this.
Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to look into this a little bit more. I find this fascinating, you know. Underground cities.
Yeah, let's get some real estate underground, Tom.
Oh, man. It'd be perfect for me. All right, so somebody else who came out from hiding was former VP
talking about
Mike
roaches.
Pence.
Talking about roaches.
And would you believe that Pence received the JFK Courage Award? And he received it for his actions on January 6th. Here he is.
I will always believe, by God's grace, I did my duty that day to support the peaceful transfer of power under the Constitution of the United States of America.
He's going to die on that sword, John.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's going to die on that. He's a hero in his own mind, and we all know he's just a weak disappointment. Listen, it's one thing for him to think that that was the right thing to do, but he was staggering and panicked regardless of what the right thing to do was and regardless of his decision.
Yeah.
And he never came out and spoke the truth. He never came out and was like, this is the right thing to do. It was always like, how do I survive? That's what drove his decision making. How do I survive? What do I do to preserve my life, right? My career. And for that, he's always going to be a roach in my mind. Yeah. He'll never be a hero. He's a roach.
Yeah. And look where he is now. He's sitting at home.
Yep.
No longer in office.
He can get an award by a bunch of liberals, but nobody cares about that.
The ultimate revenge was President Trump winning again, and he's not there with him. So
yep.
There you go.
He's got flies living in his hair at home instead.
Oh man. This is crazy, but it's to be expected. You know what I mean? This is what you expect from these leftists this time, not this time of year, but just the fact that President Trump is back in power. Of course, they're going to start rioting and the chaos that comes with the liberal left. And we're seeing at the University of Washington in Seattle where pro-Palestinian protesters have taken over the university and are committing arson on the grounds.
It's so crazy. It's fucking acid God.
I could have sworn I saw some of them wearing trash cans, John. Like the plastic.
That would have been
trash
appropriate.
cans.
That would have been an appropriate outfit for these people who are doing this. I mean, when is Seattle going to get it together?
Yeah.
And I mean, between the cops not taking action, coddling these kids. Listen, we don't want to see like what happened in the 60s where they shoot some kid on a college campus, National Guard. But certainly it would do a lot of these kids well to get a bump on the head with a billy club, So, go ahead and give them their thumps, just get rid, let's go. You got to put them in jail. If you don't want to beat the kids up, you don't want to hit them over the head with a billy club, then put them in jail. Let their parents pay to have them out. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, if Seattle and Washington doesn't want to clean itself up and they want to let this stuff happen, I mean, we have a close friend that we know that left Oregon because Oregon didn't want to clean up, Portland didn't want to clean up their act. So, I would say put the National Guard in there and get them to take care of it. But you know what? If they don't want to clean up their own city and they want to let this stuff go on, then just go for it, I guess. Whatever.
I would clean it up. I get those kids, put those kids, prosecute a bunch of them. I mean, Trump was trying to do it, right? He was trying to deport them. But these kids are probably, if let's say they're American citizens, go put them in jail. Don't allow the liberals. Put them in jail, and anybody who bails them out, put those guys in jail too. Screw it. At this point, it's, But no, I would literally have the National Guard come in with billy clubs, beat all those kids up, put them in jail for the night, and then let their parents worry about bailing them out, and then deal with the cost of it. They can't. Listen, this is an expense that we all bear. The University of Washington gets money from the federal government. We fund the federal government. If you think it doesn't impact you, it does. The federal government taxes all of us thousands of dollars, and it's a few bucks to end up going to this school, or, a few cents to end up going to the school. We've all, no matter how small, we're all contributing to the repair of this university in one way or another, no matter how small. And that is morally incorrect. These are kids that are destroying our property, and they should be stopped.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, John, so you alluded to this story earlier, and it's really crazy, especially when I read it to you. I'm reading it out loud, and it just it blows my mind. The FBI raids this Texas professor and social justice advocate over alleged child porn, only to find him watching the child porn on the TV when they entered, but he isn't arrested until 4 years later. 4 years later.
This is crazy.
Watch this.
4 years later.
Now to an update on a story that we brought you last night. A UTSA professor allegedly caught watching child pornography nearly 4 years ago was arrested for the alleged crime this week. News 4 San Antonio's Taylor Wardenby looks into why it took so long to make an arrest.
It's unbelievable. You don't walk in on a guy who's watching child pornography with young kids on a flat screen in his apartment and not make an arrest.
Criminal attorney Joe Holster is talking about Zaid Haddad. He's the UTSA professor arrested on Tuesday on federal child pornography charges. The charges date back to his arrest in July of 2021, when an affidavit states FBI agents caught Haddad watching child pornography inside his home. Holster is not his attorney, but is questioning why it took so long to arrest Haddad.
What's shocking is that law enforcement, a 7 or 8 year old being abused on his flat screen, and left him in our community for 4 years.
Retired FBI agent Abel Pena says these types of cases take time.
The FBI will gather intelligence, usually through a variety of sources, either through other law enforcement agencies. From what I understand, some of these links were actual Zoom live streams, and so he accessed a lot of that stuff, and he was, from what I understand too, viewing it on his TV.
Pena says there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
They generally will collaborate with tech companies. That does take some time. They'll issue search warrants. they'll issue subpoenas for these companies, and that does take some time.
If convicted, Haddad faces up to 20 years in prison. I'm Taylor Whartonby reporting.
20 years. This guy needs to get 100 years.
And I don't think the retired FBI agent understood either. The guy was caught in the act.
No, he understood.
He was caught
it's
in
just
the
more
act.
BS and excuses. Here's the thing: the cops could have testified. They caught him in the act, like you're saying. They could have testified against him. They could have recorded the video. The guy was like on a Zoom. I mean, come on. They left him out there for years.
Yep, for 4
They left them out there. Who knows how many more kids were abused because of this? Now, if you're involved in the schools and you allow something like this to happen, you go to jail. If you're a teacher and you don't report that something was happening, you go to jail. The people who are responsible for the decision to not arrest this guy should go to jail. And he should go to jail. This guy should go to jail for 99 years, not for 40 years, not 20 years, for 90 years. And he should never see the light of day again. This is absolutely crazy. This is why we hate the FBI and their policies at this point. They're obviously not out to protect us. They're out to protect themselves. God only knows why they would not. It would take. Come on, it does not take 4 years to go arrest this guy. They just found the folder and they're like, let's go arrest this guy. So kudos to the FBI right now. But this is why their approval ratings are so low, because of stuff like this.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I keep trying to figure it out in my mind why they wouldn't arrest him and hold him in that moment that they caught him in the act. And I see his name.
They could have prosecuted him for what they saw right then and there.
Yeah.
What they saw right then and there. They could have recorded it on their phones. They could have testified against him. They absolutely could have just arrested him. And then if there's other crimes that they find during an investigation afterwards, well, fine, then charge him later.
Right.
You know, I mean,
I get that, but I'm trying to figure out why they didn't pick him up in the first place. And I see his name, Zaid Hadid. I don't know if he was actually an American citizen, if he was on foreign, dignitary status or something. He had a PhD. But even those things don't make any sense to me. Why they didn't arrest this guy right on the spot and hold him? It's really terrible. It's really doesn't
terrible.
make any
it's
sense.
Just horrendous.
If somebody can make sense of it, please make sense of it for us. Because it doesn't make any sense. Just like this next story doesn't make any sense. And this is the mayor of Salt Lake City, Utah, who decided to make all the
this
LGBTQ flags.
What's her name? Gretchen Whitmer wannabe right here.
All of the LGBTQ flags. I guess there's 3 of them. I don't know. I only know about the rainbow one, but and the pink and light blue.
Yeah, the trans one.
The trans one. But she decided to make all of them official city flags so that she can circumvent the Utah law that bans these flags. Listen to this.
I want each and every resident to look up at any flag that flies at City Hall and be reminded that their community values belonging and acceptance, and that their community values every one of them. Let the Sago Lily send a simple but powerful message. Salt Lake City is here for you. We believe in you, and we love you.
Believe in you? They don't even believe in their own gender. But the city's going to believe in them? Give me a break. Well, this lady should be removed from office. I guess Salt Lake City. I thought Mormons didn't adhere to this kind of stuff.
No, I don't get it. They didn't either. I don't get it myself. It's just very strange. I didn't think they did. I don't know, man.
This is nuts. What a nutty story.
Yeah.
From the Gretchen Whitmer School of Politics graduate.
Her voice sounded very weak. Did you notice that? I think
she was trying to be dramatic and, like a Hollywood reader of a script.
We care for you. And we love you.
We believe in you. We believe in you and your made-up gender.
Oh, my God. People of Salt Lake City, please replace this person. Please. But as outrageous as that is, John, our final story of the night is probably the most outrageous thing I've seen in a long time. And it is a massive 12-foot plus-size black woman statue in Times Square. And the artist is saying it was inspired by Michelangelo's David. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Here's the thing. Listen, I've seen Michelangelo's David. Okay. This is no Michelangelo's David. All right.
They have a replica at Ripley's Believe It or Not in St. Augustine. You can go up there and you can see it for yourself. Yeah, absolutely.
Is it the same size and everything?
Yeah, I think so. It's huge. It's huge.
Oh, yeah, let's see it.
All right. Well,
let's see the one in New York. I mean,
yeah, you see this one.
And communicate those inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another, to try and create an understanding and basically encourage empathy.
This is so stupid.
We all need somebody to lead.
This is so stupid.
It really is, John. It really is.
Who paid for this crap? Who paid? Listen, I was kind of having a fit of outrage during the prep time. Our generation is so dumb. We created this participation trophy world for every kid to get a trophy. Now every regular below average person is going to get a statue of themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. How are you going to put a statue of some random person next to George Washington? Right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. People who do great things deserve statues. People who don't deserve that. And this guy's trying to, come on. These are the same people that are outraged when here in a few years we put Donald Trump on Mount Rushmore. It's just so dumb. So dumb. Who paid for this?
Yeah, well,
just
that's the
no
thing.
Sense.
If they're erecting it in Times Square, then obviously somebody signed off on it. That
why
at
would
City
they?
Hall.
I mean, it's just God, this is not art.
No.
This is not art. This is just. I think that they're forgetting that art is not supposed to be political. It can be, but art for number one is supposed to be art. It's supposed to be art for art's sake, not for political sake. It's art. Yeah. Art is beyond politics. It's something completely different. This is a political statement. Yeah. Okay, wrapped up in a big piece of hunk of metal, right? And I mean a big hunk of metal.
They can't attribute this to any person or anything in particular. Like they said, it's just the general black woman, but you build statues like this for people that have significance, historical significance. And I'm not saying that black women in general have not had historical significance.
But there's black women who do have significance, right? Like
there are women,
why not
black
pick
women
one
that have
that is
real
significant?
And if they if they had picked someone with true historical significance, I don't think this would be on the show. You know what I mean? No one would be
absolutely
no one
not
would care. No one
who
would
cares?
Care.
Yeah, who cares? I don't know. I do like this statue more than I like the statue that they're erecting in Osceola County, the 50 foot statue.
Jesus fish, yeah.
That basically a testament to Cheryl Greaves' sexuality. I think is a $250,000 statue honorarium to Cheryl Greaves' sexuality. I think that's a crime. So, because why? We paid for that. Literally, we paid for it. We were forced to pay for a statue celebrating Cheryl Greaves' sexuality. That is a crime. This is stupid. That's a crime. So I will at least this, hopefully that's not a crime.
Yeah. I don't even know if they finished that Jesus fish, did they? I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't think that they finished it. I don't know that they even started it yet, but I hope it falls down in a hurricane.
It is possible, John. If God wills it, let's make it happen. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's all we have for tonight, John.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you for watching the show. We appreciate you. Please like and share the show. On behalf of myself, former school board member John Arguello, my great friend, citizen Tom Lord, thank you, and we'll see you later on in the week for Unsanctioned Florida.
Yep. Hot stuff happening in Florida. You know, the infighting continues. Yep.
That's going to be a good show.
Well, I mean, I was entertained, to be honest.
I think it is rich beyond measure. The fact that a school board member that has tens of millions of dollars of conflict of interest before this board has the courage to come up here and talk about anyone's behavior. If anyone should be ashamed of themselves, sir, it should be you.
And I'm in favor of you being able to speak your mind, no matter what. That's how we get, remember when we were kids, right? And you had a problem with somebody, and then your dad would kick you out to go fight with that kid, and then you shake hands, and then you go home, and then you become friends. Disgust when they're trying to, take this word and give it meaning that it doesn't have. Our entire country needs to go through a fasting. You see all of these new age hippies, right? They're constantly fasting. They're doing starvation diets, or they won't eat for this, or what is it called? Like some kind of
intermittent fasting. It's not just us, and not just fans of President Trump, MAGA Republicans. We're not the only ones that see it.